River, I'm Lou Martinez. I have information on the dangers of swimming in these waters.
These stories and much more as Eyewitness News continues. Now, Eyewitness News at 6.
That accident's the worst one I've ever seen.
A tired bus driver may be to blame for the deaths of 5 Connecticut residents in New York State. Good evening. A church group vacationing in upstate New York took a deadly turn yesterday.
On the trip home from Niagara Falls to Waterbury, the charter bus crashed just south of Rochester, New York. 2 teenagers among those who died. 24 others are hospitalized. We begin with the very latest on the investigation. Channel 3's John Maroney joins us now live from our sister station in Rochester, WROC-TV, with new developments. John, good evening.
Good evening, Dennis. 5 people are dead, and New York State police are looking for answers. No criminal charges have been filed as of yet, but attention is focusing on the driver of the bus.
Clearly, the passengers were aware of a problem with this bus driver. They were aware of a problem with this bus driver early on, from the commencement of the trip and throughout the duration of the trip until it ended tragically in Victor.
This is William Hoven leaving the state police barracks in Farmington, New York. Hoven was behind the wheel of this bus when it crashed on the New York State Thruway Sunday afternoon, killing 5 Waterbury residents on their way home from a trip to Niagara Falls.
This guy was on my side because my body was just like, all of a sudden my body just went like this against the window, and that's it. And I got only minor cuts.
Some passengers have told police the driver was falling asleep behind the wheel, and at least one reportedly yelled at him before the crash. Others said they saw Hoven gambling in a casino during the trip.
We don't know the cause of the accident at this point, but it does appear to be driver-related.
The charter bus, now parked behind the police barracks in Farmington, was carrying 44 people, all of them members of 3 different churches in Waterbury. At least 24 were taken and treated at area hospitals. 2 young children are in guarded condition and may not survive.
This is certainly one of the biggest tragedies that I've witnessed since I've been in the city. It's something that could be potentially devastating. I think the good news is that there's a very strong community.
Now, William Hoven is not being held. He has been released. His attorneys have been asked to keep an eye on him. In the meantime, a lot of anxious folks in Waterbury, Connecticut, and that's where we find my colleague Andrew Pergam with the latest. Andrew?
John, a lot of people here are still looking for answers, trying to find out any information that they can. Now, as we know, there were people from 3 different church groups, but most of those victims who passed away were from this group here at the Church of God on East Main Street in Waterbury. Now, a lot of people, family and friends, have been heading back up towards Rochester, where John is, trying to take a spiritual journey of their own. Family members and perfect strangers console each other outside Waterbury City Hall before boarding another Rochester-bound Aero Coach USA bus. Family members want to see their loved ones firsthand.
Right now, I still don't know really if she's all right or what. I mean, they could tell me over the phone anything, you know. I just want to see my mother, though. I want to see her back again. That's what I want.
But some won't ride the bus and direct their anger at the bus company.
I want to know what's being done. No response, no callback, not even this morning. They can go take those buses and you know what.
But a half-dozen people are en route, and the buses will continue to shuttle victims and families so that they can be back together again. As for those who did not survive Sunday's accident, the 5 victims, all from Waterbury, include Michael Moda and his wife Enrolisa Polanca, both 29. They also include 16-year-old Alex Blondet, Ruth Restoyo, age 30, and a 15-year-old named Jasmine Santiago, a straight-A student.
She was always a happy person, make all of us laugh. Even in these moments, these tough moments, she would make us laugh.
You're looking live now outside the Church of God in Waterbury. This is a place where family and friends have been gathering. As you can see, there are people here now. People have been leaving flowers. I just saw some perfect strangers drop off 1 bouquet of flowers. Now, we understand there will be a memorial service beginning here tonight at 6:30 to begin to memorialize some of those people who have passed away. Also, counselors will be at Kennedy High School. Now, school is out for the summer, but those who are still interested in getting some more counseling can do so at the Media Center. They're at Kennedy High School from 10 until 12. And again, now more information coming out that a bus disaster victims fund has been set up at Webster Bank. Reporting live in Waterbury, I'm Andrew Pergam, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Andrew. Here's what we know about the bus driver now. He's 49-year-old William Holven of Trumbull. We are told he has 30 years of bus driving experience, although how long he's been employed by Aero Coach USA is not clear tonight. He has had a license to drive commercial buses in Connecticut since 1994. We can tell you he has no criminal history in Connecticut. Again, as of right now, no charges have been filed in this case.
There are questions tonight from investigators on the scene of the bus crash about whether passengers would have been better off had they worn seat belts. Channel 3's Lee Ferlisi joins us now live from the Eyewitness Newsroom with more on that part of our coverage tonight. Lee.
Dennis and Al, police say people were thrown from their seats when the chartered coach bus went through the guardrail and rolled down a 75-foot drop. The accident claimed 5 lives, their bodies found in the center of the bus. Tonight, the police say there are things that could have turned out differently if everyone had been belted in. Sunday's violent rollover bus crash right outside of Rochester, New York, raises safety questions for investigators. Would 5 more people on that church trip out of Waterbury be alive today if there had been seatbelts on the bus? State police say yes.
And if people were seat belted, then that would not have been a concern. I think everybody would have survived.
According to the Department of Transportation, no federal law exists requiring seatbelts on commercial buses.
The only one that's on this bus is the drivers.
Elliot Weed, an Arrowhead Coach USA bus driver, says he has to buckle up when he's on the job, something he thinks passengers should do too. Do you think there should be seatbelts?
Personally, yes.
But most buses aren't set up that way.
Any bus that I have, the only ones that has is the driver.
We found some passengers on their way to Foxwoods Monday who said it's a dangerous gamble with their lives, and the laws should change.
I think seat belts should be mandatory on all buses.
The accident's horrible outcome has left Angel Flores of New Haven with no doubt that he would buckle up. Now, when you get on this bus, if there's a seatbelt, will you use it?
Definitely, no doubt.
If the law were to change, bus driver Elliot Weed says the ultimate responsibility would lie in the hands of the passengers.
I think it's a good idea to have the seat belts on the bus, but the people don't wear them in the cars aren't going to wear them on the bus either.
According to the National Transportation Safety Board, buses are one of the safest ways to travel. Yet, according to a study done in 1999, people are the most susceptible to injury in rollover crashes. Back to you.
And stay tuned to Channel 3 Eyewitness News for new developments in this investigation. Tonight on the Night Beat at 11, we'll take you to that service in Waterbury that's about to get underway at 6:30. Also, the first survivors of the crash are expected to return to Connecticut as soon as tonight.
But right now we have some late-breaking news about tribal recognition in Connecticut.
Yes, Channel 3's Bryce Daniels is standing by with some new developments next at 6.
The big decision is in whether to award 2 Connecticut tribes federal recognition. I've got the answer coming up in just a few minutes.
And the weather couldn't be better. Is it going to stay this nice as we go through the rest of the week, the first full week of summer? I'll have those answers coming up as well.
There's art in golf and golf in art, from a Zen garden sand trap to a chess set made from golf things. Stay with us. We'll meet an artist whose palette is golf. All of that coming up.
You're watching Channel 3 Eyewitness News for Bloomfield, Middletown, Towland, and here in downtown New Haven as we look live from the perch of our Shoreline Newsroom atop the Connecticut Financial Center.
Looking down on the New Haven green, Dennis and I will be right back. Big news in southeastern Connecticut tonight. Federal recognition has now been granted to a 3rd Connecticut Indian tribe, the Eastern Pequots and Pawcatuck Eastern Pequots. Each sought separate recognition, but the government says they are one tribe. And that's the story from North Stonington. But Channel 3's Bryce Daniels is now live in Hartford with the late developments on this story. Bryce.
Al, this final decision has been a long-anticipated one, not only among tribe members themselves, but also opponents. Opponents such as Congressman Rob Simmons and Attorney General Richard Blumenthal, both of whom say they will likely fight this decision tooth and nail.
Our initial impression is that an appeal is likely in light of the flawed factual and legal reasoning that is behind it.
For years now, Attorney General Richard Blumenthal has vowed to work hard to block the federal recognition of two Connecticut Indian tribes, the Pawcatuck Eastern Pequots and the Eastern Pequots. His chief concern highlights a system which he says is flawed and broken with far-reaching ramifications. For Congressman Rob Simmons, though, his gripe is centered around the communities impacted, communities completely disenfranchised with the decision-making process since it doesn't include them. Upon further review of how the Bureau of Indian Affairs has arrived at its decision, Simmons and Blumenthal say an appeal is very likely. What also makes this decision a very interesting one is the fact that both tribes have experienced sharp division for decades. While they both seek the same advantages of federal recognition, they were awarded it jointly. Attorney General Richard Blumenthal says he has 90 days to appeal the decision, something he feels he definitely has the grounds to do. We're live in Hartford. I'm Bryce Daniels, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Of course, we'll have more on that story tonight at 11. The naming rights are up for sale tonight at the Thomas Dodd Memorial Stadium in Norwich. The Norwich Navigators play home games there. The Norwich Baseball Stadium Authority believes it could raise an extra $50,000 every year with corporate sponsorship. The stadium, now named after former U.S. Senator and Norwich native Thomas Dodd, would keep Dodd somewhere in that title.
Violent attack over the weekend in New Haven ends in suicide.
We'll have the very latest next at 6 o'clock, plus this live report.
The dangers of swimming in the Connecticut River. I'm Lou Martinez. This after an 11-year-old died over the weekend. I'll have the story.
Well, Doppler 3000 does see something way down here. It's a long way off in Philadelphia. Otherwise, nice weather for Connecticut. The full forecast.
You're watching Channel 3 Eyewitness News at 6 with Denise DeCenzo, Al Terzi, Miles Muzio, and Joe Tessitore. This is Connecticut's news station.
New Haven police are still investigating a violent attack on her mother and her teenage son over the weekend. Police say the suspect, 45-year-old Everald Ebanks, beat his girlfriend and her son with a crowbar and then went out and hanged himself from a tree. This was yesterday morning. The 34-year-old woman is said to be in critical condition tonight. Her son is suffering from a broken jaw. Their names are not being released at this time. Connecticut State Police are working to extradite this man, an escaped inmate, Jair Ramirez. He's in New Jersey. He'd last been seen almost 11 weeks ago running away from the Hartford Correctional Center, still dressed in his prison jumpsuit. But he was tracked down in Elizabeth, New Jersey last week, and he's now being held as a fugitive from justice.
A tragic beginning to the summer for a Hartford family over the weekend. An 11-year-old girl was swept away by the strong currents of the Connecticut River while swimming near Wethersfield Cove on Saturday. Her death is an urgent reminder of just how powerful the river can be. Channel 3's Lou Martinez joins us now live from the Wethersfield Cove with important information for parents. Lou.
Well, Dennis, it's hot out here, and it's going to get hotter this summer, and kids want to cool off, and what more ideal way to do it than jumping in the water. But the tragedy over the weekend has brought up the issue of parental supervision and the dangers of swimming in the Connecticut River. This is the sound of a gentle Connecticut River, but don't let it deceive you. Its current can be ferocious.
When it's tide coming in or going out, it's bad over there. The current's bad over there.
On Saturday, the Connecticut River claimed the life of 11-year-old Yahaira Rivera of Hartford. Police say she and a friend were caught in the strong current near Wethersfield Cove. The other girl's father was able to save Rivera's friend, but Rivera slipped away. Joe Valenti has been a parking attendant at the Cove for 17 years. Every summer, he's chasing kids out of the water.
I frown on it. I treat it as though it was my own kid. I say, geez, get out of there.
Sections of the Connecticut River are dredged, and if you walk out far enough, you could fall off an underwater cliff into a swift current that will most likely sweep you away. Connecticut Safe Kids offers some advice on water safety for children. Never leave children alone or near water. Do not assume your child is drown-proof just because your child just learned to swim. Pay attention to the water. Be aware of the undercurrents and the changing nature of the waves, currents, and undertows. Most importantly, keep your eye on your child.
A drowning can happen in the time it takes you to answer a phone and the time it takes you to turn around and grab a towel. A child can drown. Just that constant supervision by adults who know how to swim and who know CPR is so important.
Connecticut Safe Kids kept statistics about drownings in the state over a 10-year period between 1988 and 1998. It found that on the average, 8 kids, 14-year-olds and younger, drowned in Connecticut each year. Live in Weathersfield, Lou Martinez, Channel 3, Eyewitness News.